The Washington Commanders are back, and something is shifting under the lights of training camp. Jayden Daniels is no longer just a rookie name on a depth chart. He's the center of a new NFL storm. Under David Blough's new offense, everything is changing. The cadence, the huddle, the pressure, the expectations. And Daniels, he's being asked to process it all faster, louder, and sharper than ever before. This isn't just another camp update. This is Washington building something dangerous, and the league is starting to feel it.
Who is at Commanders camp today. Mike, how different will Washington's offense look under Blough?
It'll look a lot different. I mean, Jayden Daniels is going to have to get into a huddle, spit out a longer play call than he's used to be calling, and he's been doing that this spring, and he's been doing it very well. I mean, that's what the spring is for. The installation, the ability to ingest information and then spit it out, again, unlike he has done before. Under center is going to be a big part of this offense. Laramie Tunsil, the tackle, was talking today. He was asked about running the ball. He says, oh, we're going to run the ball. So this is going to be a different looking offense, but an offense that should help Jayden Daniels, because if you can run the ball effectively and do these things from under center, add a little bit of play action as well, that's going to help the quarterback. And it'll also help the quarterback stay healthy if things are running the way that they're supposed to. And that was a big part of last year. So Jayden Daniels had a really good spring. I was told the 1 week that Terry McLaurin, his number one receiver, wasn't here, was actually his best week of the spring. So they said that was a good sign right there. So everything that the Commanders asked of Jayden Daniels this spring, he has been able to do so far.
Exceptional information from Mike. We love having you on the show there. And Lewis, you hear all that Mike's illustrating. Pretty fascinating to think about some of the differences with what this offense will be. What are your expectations for Jayden Daniels this season?
Yeah, Laura, I expect Jayden to kind of remind us of just how good this young man is when he came onto the scene as a rookie and basically took the league by storm and had people going, hey, maybe this was the number one overall quarterback, in the draft coming out in 2025, which, look, some people thought that. I mean, I had him ranked that way. And I think there's nothing that would really move me off of that position, based upon the fact that last year, he missed time because of injury. And I think it's great to hear the fact that there's going to be an increased emphasis on the run game. They beefed up the running back room with the additions of Rachaad White, Kaytron Allen. I think the passing game, the play-action passing game, is going to be something that Jayden will thrive in, because we all know that he's a great deep ball thrower. And, with Terry McLaurin and now Antonio Williams coming in from Clemson, they have speed, they have versatility on the perimeter. I think, to me, the questions are more about David Blough, right? He's a first-time play caller, a guy who really is going to be under the spotlight now. So we'll see how it all comes together. But I expect him to really light it up again this year.
I think you make a good point, Lou, about the offensive coordinator. Obviously, they got to put the players in the right position. But to me, this comes down to two things. One, can you protect Jayden Daniels? And I think with Josh Connolly out of Oregon and Laramie Tunsil, they have two bookend tackles. The offensive line is better. But can they create explosive plays will be the second thing. They got to be able to push the football down the field. The run game is going to be really good. You bring in Rachaad White, you got Merritt, you got Jayden Daniels. You're going to have explosive plays in the run game. But can you get some explosive plays in the pass game? Antonio Williams, Terry McLaurin, Dahami Brown, they're going to have to be able to push the football down the field, because what's going to happen is if you can't push the football down the field.
The NFL should be worried. Jayden Daniels and the Commanders are building something dangerous in Washington. Because while much of the league has been focused on the usual Super Bowl contenders, something far more dangerous has been quietly developing behind the scenes. And now, training camp lights are exposing it for everyone to see. Jayden Daniels is no longer the exciting rookie story. He is no longer the surprise. He is no longer the future.
He is becoming the present.
And according to everything emerging from Commanders camp, Washington is building an offense that could completely change how opponents prepare every single week. A new system, a new identity, a new level of responsibility, and a quarterback who appears ready to handle all of it. But here's the question that should make every NFL defense uncomfortable. What happens when one of the league's most explosive young quarterbacks becomes even harder to stop? Because if the reports coming out of camp are true, the Washington Commanders may be preparing to unleash a version of Jayden Daniels the NFL has never seen before. And the biggest reason for this transformation isn't just Daniels himself. It's the man now redesigning the entire offense around him. This isn't a minor adjustment. This isn't a few new formations. This isn't a simple playbook update. This is everything changing. David Blough is fundamentally changing the way Washington operates. For the first time, Daniels is being asked to command a much more demanding NFL offense. Longer play calls, more information, more responsibility at the line of scrimmage, more decisions before the ball is even snapped. During spring practices, Daniels was forced to absorb massive amounts of information and then immediately execute it. And according to people inside the organization, he handled the challenge exceptionally well. Think about what that means. Young quarterbacks often struggle when systems become more complex. Processing speed becomes the difference between success and failure. The difference between a touchdown and a turnover. The difference between becoming a franchise quarterback and becoming another cautionary tale. Yet Daniels reportedly continued to excel throughout the installation process. The offense is becoming more sophisticated. And somehow, the quarterback appears to be becoming even more comfortable. That should send a message across the NFC. Because when talented quarterbacks begin mastering complicated systems, their ceiling rises dramatically. And that's exactly what Washington believes is happening right now. But the most significant change may not be the playbook itself. It may be where Jayden Daniels is lining up before the snap. One phrase keeps appearing around Commanders camp. Under center. Under center. Under center. That phrase alone could completely change Washington's offense. Last season, Daniels often operated from shotgun looks that highlighted his athleticism and mobility. Now, the Commanders appear determined to expand the attack. Under center formations create entirely different problems for defenses. Play action becomes more dangerous. Running lanes become more difficult to diagnose. Defenders hesitate. Linebackers freeze. Safeties take false steps. And all of those tiny hesitations create explosive opportunities. Laramie Tunsil made something crystal clear when discussing the offense. Washington plans to run the football. And not just occasionally. Aggressively. Physically. Consistently. That commitment changes everything. Because when defenses must respect the run, Jayden Daniels gains access to one of the most devastating weapons in football. Play-action passing. And that's where things become frightening. Daniels already possesses elite deep ball ability. Give him a defense stepping forward to stop the run. And suddenly the field opens up in ways opponents cannot easily defend. The Commanders aren't trying to make Daniels carry the offense alone. They're trying to make the game easier for him. And the scary part? The easier the game becomes for talented quarterbacks, the more dangerous they become. And while the new scheme is generating excitement, one report from spring practices may have revealed something even more important about Daniels' development. Sometimes, the most valuable evaluation happens when star players aren't available. And that's exactly why one particular report from spring practices turned heads. During the week, Terry McLaurin was absent. Jayden Daniels reportedly had his best stretch of the entire spring. Think about that. His number one receiver wasn't there. His biggest security blanket wasn't available. Yet his performance improved. Why is that significant? Because franchise quarterbacks elevate everyone around them. They don't depend on one player. They distribute. They adapt. They solve problems. They find answers. And according to observers inside the building, Daniels did exactly that. Every challenge Washington presented him, he answered. Every adjustment, he handled. Every expectation, he met. For a young quarterback entering a season with enormous pressure, that may be the most encouraging development of all. Because growth isn't measured when everything is perfect. Growth is measured when support disappears. And Daniels appears to be proving he can thrive regardless of circumstances. But while excitement is growing in Washington, expectations are growing even faster. And some analysts believe Daniels is about to remind the NFL just how special he really is. Here's where the conversation becomes controversial. Many observers believe Jayden Daniels isn't just capable of improving. They believe he's capable of exploding. Remember how he entered the league? Remember the excitement. Remember the comparisons. Remember the debates surrounding the quarterback class? Some evaluators view Daniels as the best quarterback talent available. And despite injuries interrupting portions of his rookie journey, that belief hasn't disappeared. In fact, it may be growing stronger. Because now he enters year 2 with experience. Experience changes everything. Defenses become easier to read. Coverages become easier to recognize. Mistakes become easier to avoid. And confidence becomes harder to shake. The Commanders have also strengthened the supporting cast. The running back room has received reinforcements. The offensive line looks improved. The receiving core brings speed and versatility. Every piece appears designed to help Daniels maximize his strengths. And when organizations successfully build around young quarterbacks, dramatic jumps often follow. The NFL has seen it repeatedly. Year 1 introduces the player. Year 2 introduces the superstar. Washington believes that possibility is very real. But before anyone crowns Washington a contender, one massive question remains unanswered. And it could determine everything. Talent isn't the question. Potential isn't the question. The real question is execution. Can this offense consistently create explosive plays? Because eventually, every defense will challenge Washington the same way. They'll crowd the line. They'll attack the running game. They'll force the Commanders to win vertically. And when that moment arrives, Washington's receivers must respond. Terry McLaurin, Antonio Williams, the rest of the receiving unit. They must stretch defenses. They must create separation. They must turn opportunities into game-changing moments. The offensive line must protect. The coordinator must deliver answers. And Jayden Daniels must continue evolving. That's why this season feels so fascinating. The foundation is there. The excitement is real. The confidence is growing. But potential alone doesn't win championships. Execution does. And now, Washington enters the most important phase of its transformation, proving it. And that leads to the biggest question facing the entire NFL. The Washington Commanders are no longer rebuilding. They're no longer hoping. They're no longer waiting. They're accelerating. Jayden Daniels has embraced a more demanding offense. The running game is being emphasized. Play action is becoming a major weapon. The offensive line appears stronger. The supporting cast is improving. And confidence inside the organization continues to grow. Will it all work? Nobody knows. But that's exactly why the rest of the league should pay attention. Because some of the NFL's most dangerous teams are the ones nobody takes seriously until it's too late. And right now, under the lights of training camp, Washington looks like a franchise preparing to make that leap. The warning signs are there. The pieces are coming together. And if Jayden Daniels takes the next step, the Commanders won't just be competing for playoff spots. They could become one of the most dangerous rising forces in professional football. And that possibility should have every defense watching very closely.
Yo, mic check 1 to 2, -1, -2. Game over for this video, folks. Smash that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to stay in the huddle for more. This is NFL Madness, bringing the heat and signing out.